Dandavat Pranam. He Shri Guru Dinabandhu Ganada Swanana Dakuru Swan. He Shri Guru Dinabandhu Ganada Swanana Datakurunai Koshindu Vrindavana Sinavatara Prasida Siddhara Pranaya Pachara Ajanu Lambita Bujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamlaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavayo Yugadama Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karuna Avataro Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Hemam Devachcha Vishundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasha Pradaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Kasturi Tilakam Nalata Patale Vakslena Kostavam Nasagare Varmuktikam Karatare Venu Karakankanam Sava Anga Hari Chandanam Sulalitam Kanta Muktavali Brajastrio Parivesido Vijayate Gopala Chudamani E Shishama Shundara Shikara Shekara Smiraha Samila Radikarasika Mama Kripanide Supriya Charana King Karin Kuru Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vino Iti Vigyaya Detum Nayamam Charanantikam Yat Kinkareshu Bahusa Kaluka Kamani Nitya Purasha Purusha Shashakandamali Tashakadara Sanide Visabanujas Tatkeli Kunja Bhavanangana Marajani Shama Majhami Radha Ravinda Netram Smarami Radha Madhura Smitasham Vadhami Radha Karuna Barajam Tato Mamanasti Gati Nagapi Bhakita Vihina Yaparada Lakshai Kshiptascha Kamadita Rangamaji Kripa Mai Twang Sharanang Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Rupanuga Guru Varga, Sri Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Shri Shri Gaura Gadadha, Shri Shri Radha Vallabhju, Ki Jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Shri Baladev, Jayanti Mahamahotsav, Ki Jai. So, regretfully, I am not at the mandir actually, and I'm having to do many classes sort of by this methodology. So I'm not blaming it because, you know, by grace of Guru and Krishna, at least we have some means to reach out and to be able to share Harikatha. And same thing also, I've watched so many of our devotees also using this platform to do Harikatha. So I'm also a great benefit of hearing so much Harikatha via this platform. So I'm actually very thankful. And also it shows that nothing can really stop the flow of bhakti. So with that said, we should honor the Divine Appearance Day of Sri Baladev Ji. This starts a whole series of amazing things that come pretty quickly in succession. Of course, on the 11th will be Shri Krishna Janmashtami, then later in the month, Shri Radhastami. So this is sort of the month of the trilogy of the Absolute Truth. There is no truth beyond the appearance of Shri Krishna, Shri Radhika, and Shri Baladev Ji. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is also the culmination of all of that. So we are very fortunate that we have come in a line where these realizations about the glory of Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna can be heard, and also where the pure flow of the conceptions of Mahaprabhu are given by Mahaprabhu, the pure vichardhara of Mahaprabhu has come down, and we're able to understand many, many things regarding the tattva as well as the lila tattva of Shri Krishna, Shri Baladev Ji, and Srimati Radhika. So Baladev tattva is very, very amazing thing. It's described that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Eti Chamsa Kalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Also, Ramari Murteshu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Anavatar Makaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Paramam Pumanyo Govindamari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Krishna Swayam Bhagavan. Swayam Bhagavan means that Krishna is the final word in the category of Bhagavan. That there is nothing beyond Krishna. Everything has come from him. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda Sava Karana Karanam. Krishna, he's the cause of all other causes, but he has no cause for himself. Therefore, he is Swayam Rup Bhagavan. In Swayam Rup Bhagavan, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Apad is quoted, Jiva Goswami perhaps in Madhurya Kandambini, Bhagavad Stavad Asadharana Aishwarya Madhurya Tattva Visesh. That in the Swayam Rupa of Bhagavan, both Aishwarya and Madhurya in a category called Asadharana. Asadharana means uncommon. Here the word uncommon means it's not present in the same way in any other form of Bhagavan. So there are unlimited forms of Bhagavan. Of course, we know the major incarnations of Bhagavan, the Leela avatars. We also know the Purusha avatars. We know the Guna avatars, etc. So in none of these is the quality of Aishwarya and Madhurya combined in such a way to create Asadharana, means sort of an uncommonness or uniqueness, as it is present in Swayam Bhagavan, Vrajendra Nandan, Sri Krishna. So because Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, and no one is equal to or greater than him, then he is the source of all other manifestations. Now, we have to understand how, because everything is eternally existing. So there is no historical period, or there's no historical narrative regarding the appearance of Srimati Radhika or Sri Baladev Ji, or the inhabitants of the spiritual world, or the eternal Dhams themselves. So we speak in the words like create, manifest, etc. because it's Prakat Bhasha. Prakat Bhasha means it's the language we have available in the material world. But understanding how Krishna is the source of everything as best we can in Prakat Bhasha, we're trying to describe. So it's also explained, Radha Krishna Chahi Eki Swarup Lila Rasa Asudate Dhari Duri Rup. That Shri Radha and Krishna, they're actually one personality. But for the sake of Lila, Lila Rasa Asudate, to taste Lila, they have eternally manifested in two forms, Rasaraj and Mahabhav Swarup. So these two forms, they've eternally manifested. Sri Baladev Ji is similar. Baladev is also non-different from Sri Krishna Bhagavan, but he is in a special mood and relationship with Sri Krishna. Krishna himself taking a slightly different mood and manifesting a slightly different roop. That is called Vaibhava Prakash. There's Prabhav Prakash and Vaibhav Prakash. So an example of Prabhav Prakash would be like when Sri Krishna was dancing in the Rasa dance. He expanded himself, and with millions of gopis, he danced with millions of gopis simultaneously. This is an example of Prabhav Prakash. So different explanations given. Some explanations in Tattva essentially is that Krishna expanded himself in between each gopi. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad, he's mentioned, no, it was the Natya Vidagdha means the expertise in dancing of Krishna, that he danced so fast and so wonderfully. One Krishna was dancing so wonderfully and so fast, it appeared that he was dancing in between each gopi. So, point is, the example of Prabhav Prakash would be that Krishna expanded himself and danced with each gopi. But it is still the same Krishna. Understand? Not different Krishna. So, Vaibhav Prakash means it is also Shri Krishna. But Shri Krishna has taken a different roop and also a different mood. So what mood and roop has he taken in the case of Baladev Ji? First, he's taken the mood of Seva Vritti and Seva Vastu. Seva Vritti means Shri Baladev is the prasana of all kinds of mood of service towards Shri Krishna. So Shri Krishna, when he wants the mood of his own service, and this is a very achintya bhav, because we can't understand how these sort of things work, practically speaking, because we don't have any experience in the transcendent world, right? So we're only going by what information, what realizations we've gleaned from our Charyavaga. So, Shri Baladev Ji, he is a personification of the mood and functions, vritti, of service and the vastu, the substance of service towards Shri Krishna. So what does that mean? Srimati Radhika has been described as Krishna's happiness personified. Krishna's happiness is derived from the Shakti called Aladini. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this Aladini Shakti was described. Ladini Sara Prem, Prem Sara Bhav, Bhav Paramakostanam Mahabhav, Mahabhav Swarupini Shri Radha Thakurani. Aladini Shakti is composed of Prem. Just recently, for the disappearance Mahotsav of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, I spoke on Rupa Goswami Pad's definition of Prem. So, Prem, one of its tasting, not tasting, that's the wrong word, I'm trying to find the word. The thing that makes Prem so relishable is the inherent taste in it, the rasa samagri in it, that is called Aladini Shakti. That's the essence of it. I'll give you an example. If you make halava, the essential ingredient is the farina, right? So that's the base ingredient, right? And that's going to be the repository of all of the different things that you decide to add to it, right? Obviously, you're going to add the main ingredients, water, sugar. Then you may add blueberries, you may add dates, you may do this, you may do that. But the farina is the container that holds all of those different ingredients to, in the end, provide the completed thing called halava and the unique taste that comes in it. So, in the same way, the Aladini Shakti is the repository. It is the energy, right, in praying that makes it relishable, both to Bhagavan and to the devotee. So, Ladini Sara Prem, the essence of Prem is this Ladini Shakti. Ladini Sara Prem, Prem Sara Bhav. That Prem manifests as a mood, as a bhav. And the essence of any bhav is geared towards someone with a mood of service. This is what a bhav does. Bhav gives in the heart a mood towards someone and a desire to serve that someone. So here, Ladini Sara Prem, Prem, the essence of it is a bhav, indicative of a mood, of a desire to serve. Ladini Sara Bhav, Bhav Paramakostanam. So when that bhav reaches its highest expression, right? Paramakasta means it's in its highest manifestation. It is called a Mahabhav. So I don't want to go through a whole class on what is praying here, but in Mahabhav, from Anurag, when it becomes intensified, it becomes known as Mahabhav. That Mahabhav has different functions and different functions and manifestations as well, like Rud, Adirud, Modan, Mohan, and uniquely in Srimati Radhika, Madan Bhav. So, this Mahabhav, Paramakastana Mahabhav, the very Swarup, the very personification of it, Mahabhav Swarup, Shri Radha Thakurani is Srimati Radharani. So Krishna tastes happiness through Srimati Radhika in the form of this Hladini Shakti. Now, Srimati Radhika, in order to manifest unlimited varieties of taste for Sri Krishna, she expands her own Shakti, right? In the form of her desire to fulfill Krishna's happiness. The manifest substance of that is called Sandhini Shakti. You understand? In other words, I'm giving you another example. If I want to, out of affection, render some service to a friend or to my wife or something like that, I will have the mood and the expression. The mood and the expression will be tasted by the person being served as the thing that gives them happiness. Oh, Mukunda Prabhu did this thing or did that thing for me. But the substance is the thing itself. Like Mukunda cooked prasad and offered it and gave me some. Mukunda built a certain thing for me. Or Mukunda did this, or Mukunda did that. So the substance also is part of the expression of the happiness. So the Sandhini Shakti means the actual substance. That Sandhini Shakti, the Adi Statrita Devata, the actual controller of that energy is Sri Balaramji. He's the substance, Seva Vastu, under which Hladini Shakti is expressed in so many ways to make Krishna happy. For instance, Radhika told in Kurukshetra, Anya Ridoya Moramana Vrindavan, Mani Vani Eka Korijani. You should understand, Krishna, that my heart, my mind, they are one thing. In the material world, that's a different thing. Somebody's mind and their heart is completely different. Because under the influence of the modes of nature, the influence of the modes don't allow you to create a unified consistency between heart and mind. That's why somebody could have very sincere desires to do something, but by the fluctuations of the mind, accepting and rejecting, and the influence of the modes of nature, they can't stay steady to do it. So the mind and heart are very different. But Radhika is telling my mind and heart, body included, are not two different things. But then she went on to say, my heart and my mind are Vrindavan. Ridoya Moraman, Vrindavan. Mani, Vani, Eka Korijani. My man and this Van, Ek Korijani. They are one thing. So here's the example that Hladini Shakti expresses itself in a Vastu of Sandhini Shakti, because the entire Dham of Vrindavan is composed of Sandhini Shakti, whom the controller of is Sri Baladevji. So, expressing this tasteful Hladini Shakti through all of these substances, that is the function of Sri Baladev in Tattva. Therefore, he's called Balaram. Balaram, Srila Gurudev gave a lecture some time ago. He says Bala means Shakti. So there's already naturally a Shakti imbued in Bhagavan. So it's not inconsistent to say that Baladev is himself the manifestation of power. But the Shakti of Bhagavan is Srimati Radhika. This is the Shakti of Bhagavan. So it is also not inconsistent to say that Balaram here means Bala, meaning Shakti here, meaning Srimati Radhika, because she is the power to make Bhagavan happy. She is the control of Hladini Shakti. That power instilled in Baladevji gives him the ability to create substances of the expression of that happiness to Krishna. So, Ramate iti Rama. So, the word Ram here means Ramayate iti Rama. Gurudev says, Rama here means the expression of being able to give pleasure. So, the power to give Krishna pleasure by unlimited manifestations of seva vritti, attitudes of service, which I'll get to in a minute, and actual vastu, substances of service. This is the chief function of Baladev Tattva. So, Krishna himself expands as the Vaibhav Prakash. Why? Because Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti, Rasavai Saha. He is the Murti of enjoyment itself. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam, Savalopai. all these expressions of how Krishna, he is the taster of everything. That tasting feature is called Chit Shakti, or Sangit Shakti. He is the cognizant taster of all these varieties of happiness expressed in unlimited substances of Sandini Shakti. So, Aladini Shrimati Radhika Sangvit, meaning Krishna, and Sandini, meaning Shri Baladev Tattva. So without Shri Baladev, you don't have a mechanism for the expression of Ladini Shakti. You understand? So this trilogy of Shri Baladev Ji, Shri Radhika, and Shri Krishna, this is an eternal reality in Tattva that provides the entire reality of the spiritual world. Now, Baladev is also Seva Vritti. Seva Vritti means he is the personification of the mood of service. There is no service in anyone or anything that is not imbued with Sandini Shakti. Because Krishna only tastes substances which are imbued with Ladini. And the only substance that Ladini Shakti can effectively inhabit is things composed of Sandini Shakti. You understand? This is why Krishna does not taste the material world. You understand? That's why, the material things have no interest for Krishna. But when they're imbued with prem, which is composed of Sandini, Samvit, and Ladini, then Krishna, he can taste. So, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prayachati. Here the operative word is bhakti. When it's imbued with bhakti, it doesn't matter how insignificant the thing is, the tasting, or I want to say tasteable, but my wife is sitting next to me, she's going to chastise me that that's not a real word, right? So the thing that makes anything relishable for Krishna is the inherent feature of bhakti. Bhakti again, bhakti mana radhika, or bhakti means radhika or Ladini Shakti. So anything imbued with that is tasteable to Krishna. But that means it's also imbued with Sandini Shakti. Something that's just simply material has no interest for Krishna at all. Right? So, Shri Baladev Ji, he is also the attitude of service. So without Baladev, no one can really express any mood of service. Right? In Srimati Radhika, obviously it's Swabhavik. So we're not talking about Radhika. Right? Or her Kaya Vyuha. Means her direct expansions. But in all the other residents of the Dham, their actual forms, their clothing, their everything is an expression of their Nitya Siddhabhav. The forms, the attitudes, and everything else are provided by Shri Baladev Tattva in the form of Sandini Shakti. So the entire spiritual world, which is relishable to Krishna, is actually a manifestation of Krishna Sandini Shakti, Baladev and Sandini Shakti. Not only the Dham, not only the bodies of all of the eternal associates, but even Krishna's own personal ornaments, his earrings, his pitambar, his kastubamani, everything is composed of Baladev Shakti or Sandini Shakti. So Baladev is the complete substance and attitude of service. Now, how Baladev particularly is the attitude of service towards Shri Krishna is also very amazing. Shri Baladev has service as the nature of the Akhanda principle. We say Akhanda Guru Tattva. But Guru here will have to indicate Guru of what? Right? So Guru here means Guru of the attitude of service to Krishna. That's what meaning of Akhanda Guru Tattva here. It's not a generic thing. Well, he's just the Akhanda Guru Tattva, and then Vyasti Guru Tattva comes from that. Vyasti Guru means the individual Guru manifestations. That's not really the meaning here. The indication here is he is the principle, the Akhanda, the unbroken, absolute principle of what Guru does, which is reveal the moods of service to Krishna. That's what Guru does. When you approach Guru, you're approaching to find out how to serve Krishna, because from time without any beginning, the jivas have been tadvai mukya, means adverse to the service of Krishna. Approaching Guru is how to serve Krishna. And Shri Baladev Tattva as the Akhanda principle of Guru revelation, or the revelation, how to serve Krishna, that is called Akhanda Guru Tattva. So that's the real meaning of the word Akhanda Guru Tattva. It's not just a generic thing where he's the unbroken principle of Guru, because if you dig deeper, you come to this understanding, right? Guru means who reveals how to serve Krishna. So this is back to the point of being the Akhanda of Seva Vritti, the mood of service, or the tendency of service towards Bhagavan. So Baladev himself has service in every possible way. In Braja, the essential service of Sri Baladev Ji in Krishna's Leela is in the mood of Surit Sakabhav. Surit Sakabhav means there's different kinds of sakas, different kinds of friends of Krishna. Surit sakas are a little bit older, and they have a Sankul Rati of a slight, Sankul Rati means like a mixture of feelings. Predominantly, they're in Sakyaras, but some Palan and Posan means some desire to protect and nourish Krishna is also present in them, right? So this is an element of Vatsalya praying. So those elder friends of Krishna, they have this mood. If Krishna is in any danger, they will protect him. So many pastimes, Baladev is told, oh, watch out for Krishna in this way, watch out for Krishna in that way. If the boys begin to play too rough with Krishna, Baladev will intervene. Baladev will often chastise Krishna about being too reckless in his tendencies to enjoy. I'll tell some pastime soon about that. But this mood of being Palan and Posan means protective and nourishing of Krishna is also present in Baladev Sakyabhav. So the mood of Surit Sakyaras is there in Baladev. But Baladev also has all other moods, right? Like Dasyaras. Dasyaras is common to every ras. Dasyaras is common to every ras. Right? What is this? I'm trying to think of this verse. There's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that mentions this. Krishna Prema Eka. Krishna Prema Eka Adbhuta Swabhav Adbhuta Bhav Ha Guru Sama Logi Ke Koriye Dhas. So it says that every ras, whether it's based on like Vatsalya Prem, which would be Krishna's Gurujan, or Sama, which are like Krishna's Sakas, especially Priya Sakas, because they completely feel equal to Krishna all ways. So if it's Guru, superior to Krishna, Sama, those who are like equal to Krishna, like Priya Sakas, or Lagu, those who are like younger, those who are younger than Krishna, and they serve him with a kind of mixture of Dasyabhav. No matter what category it is, the essence of all of their relationships has Dasyabhav in it. And this includes also Vatsalya Ras, because everyone is thinking how to render a service to Krishna. That service is Dasitva. Whatever mood it is Dasitva. And then some Rati or some Vishesh Bhav is placed on that Dasitva, right? Creating one of the particular rasas that one has with Krishna. So everybody has Dasyaras. So the origin of all of that, of course, is also Sri Baladev Ji Tattva. And of course, in Madhurya Rasa, the Shakti of Sri Baladev Ji, right, manifest as Radhika's younger sister, the Vara Gopi, Ananga Manjari. Ananga Manjari doesn't mean Ananga Manjari, right? Here, she's a Varasaki. If you read Krishna Karnadesh Deepika, she's a Varasaki. So this is not our discussion here, but this is her category. And she's a younger sister of Srimati Radhika. So Baladev Ji has all of these vrittis of seva. He manifests all these vrittis of seva, not in his Leela, but it's there in the principle of Baladev Tattva. That same principle of Baladev Tattva also expands service. Because Bhagavan, though his actual Leela is, his Leela is primarily tasted in the spiritual domain, Krishna also has dealings with the material world in the form of another Leela, which is called Srishti Leela. So Krishna expands. First, let me do this. First, Krishna expands as the Chatavyuha. So you have Baladev, and from Baladev you have the first Chatavyuha, Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Adiruddha. And they expand as the predominating elements of Vaikuntha Dham, right? Or Dwaka, Mathura, then is Vaikuntha Dham, right? That Chaturvyuha, another Chaturvyuha expands, another Vasudeva Shankarshan Pradyumna, from another Mahashankarshan, and from them the Purusha avatars expand, right? Creating the material world. All of this is considered to be Bhagavan's Leela. Because from the perspective of how Bhagavan expands, different kinds of tastes come to Bhagavan. So an interesting point came up. My Guru Bhai, Prem, he had given a class. And it was really interesting because he brought up a point which was really outstanding based on some of the other things that I've read. And that's that the jivas, even in the material world, the Vibhinamsa jivas who've been Vaimukya or Bahirmukta to Krishna since time without beginning. Anadya Vijayuktasha Purusha Veda Atmanam. Swatona Sambhavantyanya Gyanata Ganadoma. This is a verse in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam that Krishna spoke to Uddhava, explaining how the jivas have been conditioned from time without any beginning. So, of course, I don't have to mention it here, I don't believe, but there is no historical narrative of us having fallen from the spiritual world or the Brahmajyoti somewhere or some in-between place and fallen. That narrative is given, if you read 15th chapter of Jivadharma closely, it is given to describe Tatashta Swabhav. It wasn't given to describe a history of something. So this is one point. That can be discussed if devotees like at a different time. So, the jivas having been conditioned and hence Vaimukta to Krishna from time without any beginning, they have been within the material creation. So, one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita is very outstanding. It says, Swamsa Vibhinamsa Rupahana Vishtar Ananta Vaikunte Brahmanande Korena Vihar. That Krishna, he enjoys all kinds of pastimes with both Swangsha means his own expansions and Vibhinamsa, the separated expansions, right, in all kinds of ways, including throughout Vaikuntha. Now here Vaikuntha means the entire spiritual world, and Brahmanande, in the material world as well. Karena Vihar, he performs so many different kinds of pastimes, both as Srishti Leela itself, and also his appearance within the creation in various avatars. And he has dealings with the Vibhinamsa jivas. So, everything was created for the purpose of service to Bhagavan. So, my point here was that the jivas, even those who have been Vaimukta Krishna, Bahirmukta Krishna, from Anadikal, right, their activities have indirectly also been service to Krishna. The problem is they are unconscious of that service. Don't mistake this. Don't think, oh, Mukunda just said, hey, being in the material world, being in Maya, it's okay. You're just unconscious of your serving Krishna. Nonsense. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying from the point of view of Bhagavan, everything is translated as seva to Bhagavan. Example, when Shishupal, right, he began insulting Krishna in the Sabha of Maharaj Yudhisthira during the Rajasuya Yagya. So even though he was hurling insults, Divya Saraswati made to Krishna's ears all of those insults turn into different forms of praise. If you read Sarta Darshini Tika, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Padis completely explain this, right? So everything that is translated to Bhagavan becomes part of Bhagavan's enjoyment at some level. Shri Krishna Bhagavan has no interest in the material world. But from the point of view of Paramatma, he has accompanied the jivas in material world from time without any beginning. Because the jivas, Vibhinamsa jivas, actually in this world, they're called Paramatma Vaibhav or Paramatmaika Seshitva. Seshitva means like the remainder of something. So we are the last expression as Vibhinamsa, Visesh Bhina Amsa, separated, specialized parts of Paramatma in the material world. And Paramatma comes every single time we come to try to help us and save us as Chaitya Guru. But we cannot hear Chaitya Guru. Jive Sakshat Nahi Chaitya Guru Rupe. We can't hear the influence of Chaitya Guru. So until Shri Guru manifests by his causeless mercy, Yarichaya, like Yarichaya Matkata Do, one verse in Bhagavatam, the word Yarichaya means by causeless mercy. By the causeless mercy of Sadhu, right, they appear, and when they appear, then our connection with avidya, which has existed since time without any beginning, is broken. That is also a function of Baladev Tattva, of Akhanda Guru Tattva. That is also one function. Sava Sangamena, Ratnya Ankor, Rupa Eva Moti. So Sava Sangamena means the power of Sadhu Sangha, essentially. Sava Sangamena, Ratnya Ankur. The creeper of praying, or bhav, or bhakti, is inherent in the hearts of sadhus. Sava Sangamena, Ratnya Ankur, Rupa Eva. And it takes a certain form. What form? Rupa Eva Mati. In Sanskrit, Mati means like discrimination or consideration or tendency. So it's by this distribution of Mati to the jiva that their abhinavesh in the material world is broken, and they can now begin to turn by question. Because the first thing that will happen in Mati is you'll think, what is this? What's going on? Why am I suffering? How did I get here? How come everybody dies? How come I don't want to die? If everybody dies, it should be natural, but I don't want to die. So why is that? This is called Mati. And when that Mati becomes somewhat mature, it leads to questions like Sanatana Goswami, Keami, Kenamai, Jare Tapatrai. Oh, directly, who am I and why am I suffering? You understand? At that time, the relationship with Guru becomes significant. Because now one can do pariprishna. Pariprishna means relevant inquiries to the principle of revelation, who's originally Baladev Tattva. One can do relevant inquiry to the power of revelation, which is Guru, about why I'm here, why I'm suffering, and who am I. Tadvidi pranipattena pari prishnena shevaya. But in order for the revelation to take hold in the heart of the jiva, they have to be invested with seva vritti, again, which comes from Baladev Tattva, ultimately, the Akhanda principle of seva vritti. At that time, what they hear from Guru can actually stick in their hearts because it lands on the substance of Sandhini. You understand? In other words, you can tell somebody everything about Krishna, from your Nathabadi to the mysteries and the Rahasya Ras Leela. But if they have no embedded foundation of Sandhini Shakti having come from association with Sadhu Guru, it will go in one ear and out the other. But when there is the principle of Sandhini Shakti, now we shouldn't think Sandhini Shakti has come wholesale, because Sandhini Shakti is part of Swarup Shakti, right? But we should think a good example is like when somebody puts down cement. When they first put the cement down, it is still soft and pliable and so forth and so on. And many things, if you damage that cement at that time, will become markings in the cement. So if you've ever noticed, when people put cement down, like a sidewalk or anything, after they smooth everything out and make everything perfect, first thing they do is they build a border or some kind of fencing around that cement work so that nobody damages it. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Sanatan Siksha Mahaprabhu told the same thing. Listen, once the seed of bhakti has been given, Guru Krishna Prasade Poi, Bhakti Lata Bij, then you have to become like a gardener. Mali Khana Se Bij Aropan, Shravanam Kirtana Jale, Kariye Shekon. Then by hearing and chanting, you water this creeper, right? And then he says you have to build a fence around it, mostly to protect from aparad. Apagata radha aparad. The tendency towards offense, towards the process of loving Krishna, because the essence of loving Krishna is Srimati Radhika. So apagata radha, doing what is opposite to the goal of service to Radha, right? This is called aparad. Understand? So even there, it's mentioned you build a fence around it to protect it, right? And it also takes some time for the cement to harden. So in the same way, from Mati, Krishna Seva Vasanam comes up through Seva to Sadhu Guru and the asking of relevant questions, right? Just what's that other verse? Jigyashu Shre Uttamam Tajmat Guru Praprajetya Jigyasyo Shre Uttamam. So when one meets Sadhu Guru, one should make relevant inquiries. Shreya. Shreya Uttamam. Right? So Shreya here, because Shreya could also mean Shreya about the material world. Right? What's best for me in the material world. Right? And actually you find that sometimes a person meets Sadhu Guru, but they spend all the time asking, how can my business become better? Should I marry this girl or that girl, this boy or that boy? Should I change my relationship? What do you think, Gurudev? Is this house good? That house good? Gurudev may answer anything. Gurudev's kripa is unlimited. But the real inquiry to Gurudev is, first, Kayami, who am I? How am I suffering so much? And then, progressively, those inquiries will become more, how can I extricate myself from the material world? Because in the 11th canto verse that I mentioned before, it's mentioned. Swato na samavantiyanya ganatva ganadho bhavet. Even though you cannot extricate yourself from Maya, a person who is ganatva means who is self-realized, who is the vyasti, right? Means the representation in part of the Akhanda principle of revelation, Guru Tattva, Nityananda, Baladev Tattva. That person can give you mati and give you the power to start to extricate yourself, right? And ganadho means they are kripa. They're unlimitedly merciful. Therefore, they will be inclined naturally, swabhavically, they're inclined to help others. This is the nature of Sadhu Guru. Right? So, but we have to make relevant inquiries. Right? And then those inquiries will increase. And according to our adhikar, right? The questions and answers will become more and more relishable. In the stage of ruchi, tatad bhava adimadhye shuti dhirapekshate. Nasa sastra yukting cha tal lobat utpatti lakshanam. At the stage of ruchi, those inquiries will be reciprocated with bhajan shiksha and with very sweet harikatha about Radha Krishna, and the heart will be able to hold it, because now that cement that you laid earlier, having been protected against the influence of Maya dropping on it and making bad impressions, now that spot is suitable for building something very strongly. Right? Once you have a foundation built, now you can start to build. Srila Gurudev used to give the analogy, once you have a foundation, you can build a Ras Mahal. Ras Mahal, not Ras Malai, Ras Mahal. Ras Mahal means like a palace of rasa, by hearing Harikatha and so many different things. Right? Ras Malai, also I know people like. Right? But here Gurudev said, first foundation, then Ras Mahal. Means a palace of Ras. So this is the tattva of Sri Baladev Ji. All of the jivas who ultimately have come from Baladev Ji through various expansions, through the Purusha avatars, and like I said, ultimately down to Paramatma, and then the jivas are the Paramatmika Seshatva. Seshatva means the principles that serve. There are Sesh and Seshayi. Seshayi means the object of service, and Sesh means the principle of service. Just like even Baladev, one feature of Baladev is called Ananta Sesh. So what does Ananta Sesh mean? It means the unlimited capacity beyond Krishna's everything already being fulfilled. That Baladev Ji as the principle and the substance of service has unlimited capacity. Whatever Krishna will even want in the future, whatever, he has the capacity to cover it. You understand? I'm trying to think of an example. It's like going to a feast. So you go to one Janmashtami, any feast, right? And there's so many devotees, right? So the cooks have prepared everything, right? And you think, okay, there's 100 devotees here? No, 200 have come. 400 have come. More devotees are coming? And now you begin to think, how much prasadam did we make, right? But amazingly, and this is an actual factual thing, I remember one of the first big festivals that we put on for Srila Gurudev was in Prince William Park up in Virginia when we were staying in Washington, D.C. area. So myself, Sanatan, Shanta Maharaj, some other devotees, many devotees, all the devotees in Washington, D.C. at that time. My good wife, Premavati Didi, we were all involved in setting up this festival. Stai Bhava and Tulsi Devi, all involved in setting up this festival for Srila Gurudev. And one of the amazing things was that we had rented the facility, we had done everything, we arranged for a house for Gurudev to stay in, which was thankful to one devotee, Nrsinga Prabhu and his good wife. And we, for the first time, we're going to have a huge festival. And Srila Gurudev was in Alachua at that time. And we got a call from Alachua. Haribol, Mukunda Prabhu. And at the time, we were all sitting in a car, all 4 of the male devotees. We were sitting in a car in front of the Washington Monument, just going over different things about trying to make the festival successful. And we were supposed to speak to Gurudev later on that day. But anyway, we got a call a little earlier telling us, Prabhuji, guess what? Amazing news. Listen, for preaching, we have decided to move the festival to New Vrindavan. Right? So we were devastated. It's like, what? Why? I mean, I don't understand. We've already rented this place, this park and everything, and we've gotten all accommodated, everything. He said, no, this would be, Gurudev will really want this. So we said, okay, if that's the case, So anyways, we waited a little while, and then the phone rang again. Ring, ring. And it was Brajanath Prabhu. So Brajanath Prabhu said, Mukunda Prabhu, Gurudev wants to speak to you. So I put it on the speakerphone, right? And Srila Gurudev gets on the phone. He says, so you don't want me to come? So I said, well, Gurudev, no, we want you to come. We understood that you had a desire to go to New Vrindavan for preaching everything. And, our job is to serve you. This is our desire. Whatever you desire, we desire. If you would even come for 2-3 days, we'd be happy. We said, why 2 or 3 days? I said I would come for 7 days, so I will come for 7 days. So anyway, I'm not going to get into the byproducts of what happened here, because the person who called us about New Vrindavan, and by the way, they told us one of the things we could do was put up signs on the trees at the park to tell people to drive to New Vrindavan, which was ridiculous. Anyways, not getting into that, but anyways, that devotee got severely chastised, and Gurudev ended up coming for 7 days. But my original point was, as we begin to prepare, right, we started getting, first day, 100 devotees. We bought boga and everything, and we had a lot of boga. But anyway, the festival ended up, long story short, being like 450, 500 devotees, right, over that weekend. And we never somehow or another ran out of boga to make Prashadam. And we had the Chiradhoi Mahotsav, the Paniyati festival, also at the end. We had everything, and nothing ever ran out. So this is called Se Ananta Sesh in relation to Baladev Tattva. No matter what Krishna wants, Baladev can accommodate, because he is the also remainder, but unlimitedly, Ananta Sesh. You understand? And Sesh serves Seshai. Right? Seshai means Bhagavan. So Sesh serves Seshai. You understand? So this is Shri Baladev Tattva. He is the Seva Vritti, Seva Vastu, and he's also the power of revelation. I've often described that when Mahaprabhu descends, he descends in 5 features. What is this verse? Pancha Tattvakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So in this Pancha Tattva, these 5 truths, the first is the Bhakta Roop. Bhakta Roop here means Rasaraj Mahabhav in one roop. Means Srimati Radhika Shri Krishna in one roop. But the ability to understand Radha and Krishna can never come unless the revelatory power to reveal it is there. Therefore, Nityananda Prabhu is called Bhakta Swarup. Swarup means the revelation of the inner reality of something. I'll give you an example. If someone comes and they knock on your door, you open the door and you can see the roop. You can see the form of that person standing here, but you don't know them from Adam. And you continuously look, they don't say anything, you don't say anything. I don't think it will be too long before you decide to shut the door, right? But if they begin to speak and say, hey, I'm your cousin, or I'm a godbrother, Bhakta Das, I remember you from this seva and this place, and I'm visiting here. And so now once that revelation comes out, right, your vision of the root of that person changes. You understand? The nature of your relationship also changes. So Nityananda Prabhu is the Swarup that reveals Bhakta Roop. Heno Nityanine Bhai, Radha Krishna Poiti Nai. Without Nityananda, no one can understand what is Radha and Krishna. What to speak of Radha and Krishna, you can't understand Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Yata Yata Gaura Padara Vinde. Right? Nija Bhaktim, Krita Punya Rasi. And if you don't go to Gaur Leela, you cannot approach Braj Leela. So to understand Mahaprabhu, you have to have the Swarup Nityananda. But even then, even if you had Swarup, that Swarup has to descend to your place. It has to come into your area of appreciation, your area or domain of accessibility. Right? Therefore, the whole thing descends to the Bhakta Avatar Advaita Acharya. I've explained this thing before, so I'm not going into detail here. And even when it descends, the Shakti or the power to understand it has to be there. That Shakti is called Bhakti Shakti, and the personification of Bhakti Shakti is Sri Gadadhar. But neither Krishna, Radhika, Baladev Tattva, Nityananda Tattva, Advaita Acharya, who's Mahavishnu Tattva, Sarasiv Tattva, they cannot directly reveal to the Jivas. They don't. Who reveals to the Jivas? Sava Sangamena. Sadhu reveals to the Jiva. Therefore, Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Srivas means, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Gupta, I believe it's in there. I remember where this verse is. Shri Bhakti Ras Vidaya Tvam Srivas Atauchite. His name is Srivas because Sri Bhakti Ras resides in his heart. So the pure Vaishnav, Sadhu, is that person in whose heart Bhakti Rasa is residing. And it's from that Sadhu that one gets the seed of devotional service. You understand? Guru, Sadhu means same thing. So Guru Krishna, Prasade Poi, Bhakti Lata Bij. And the first part of the Lata Bij is the seed, means Mati. Right? From the verse I quoted before from Madhurya Kadamini. Right? So this revelatory power has to descend to this plane. Right? In order to make it accessible to the Jiva, and then it has to come through a Sadhu. So without this Nityananda Tattva, Baladev Tattva, we have no access to the transcendental realm. So this is Sri Baladev Tattva, and Sri Baladev Leela is also something. For the sake of time, and because we have another conference in the evening, our regular phone conference comes in the evening. So I'll tell just some pastimes in Samupakyan of Sri Baladev Ji, and then we'll conclude there. And if I've made any mistakes or anything, which I'm prone to do, I'm very much open to devotees can send any corrections, and then we can straighten everything out. So, first of all, the appearance of Sri Baladev is very, very interesting. Sri Baladev Ji, though he appears to Mother Rohini, when Vasudeva and Devaki, Maharaj Ugrasen, when they were all facing the atrocities of Kamsa and were all locked away, Vasudeva, he sent many of his wives to different places in order to assure their safety. So, by horseback, he sent Mother Rohini Ma from Mathura to Vrindavan. But you should know, Rohini Ma, this is not just like some one-time Leela. The permanent position of Rohini Ma is she is the conduit between Braj and Krishna's Mathura and Dwarka Leelas. Try to understand this thing. She is the conduit because she personifies Braj even in those places. Rohini Ma personifies the mood of Braj even in Mathura and in Dwarka. I told a pastime the other day. When Krishna's in Dwarka, sometimes Krishna's not eating, and Mother Devaki will see Krishna, and though he's living among 16,108 queens in 16,108 palaces, right? Though he's living in that kind of Aishwarya, opulence, Devaki will see Krishna and say, why? Why you're so thin? What is happening? Even if the cooks in those 16,000 palaces, they're not cooking for you very well. I know your wives will personally go and they will with their own hands make prasad for you. Why is it that you're not eating? Krishna, you understand? How are you maintaining your life? So he also will be very reluctant to say, but how is Krishna maintaining his life? Oh, every now and then Krishna and Balaram will go to visit Mother Rohini. And going to the house of Mother Rohini, they'll eat sumptuously. Because they will be tasting all of the bhavs of Braja. Just like every morning, Radhika and her Sakis would come to Nandagang. And in Nandagang, they would be there. And they would be cooking with Rohini Ma and Yashoda Ma. And Krishna would have so many sweet pastimes. He sometimes would pick up something, knowing it was made by Srimati Radhika. And biting that thing, Krishna would try to check the ecstatic feelings he was feeling. So he would do so by looking at the thing and questioning, who's made this? This doesn't taste so nice. You understand? But this is masking the ecstatic mood coming in his heart. You understand? So having deep separation from all these kind of things, Krishna could accommodate some comforting to that mood, taking prasad in the home of Rohini Ma. But other than that, Krishna was suffering very greatly. He was not eating hardly at all. You understand? So Rohini Ma is like a conduit between Braj and Mathura and Dwarka. I told before, you should understand that Mathura and Dwarka, they are the Virohe Kshetra of Braj. That's all. Any true Brijabasi who has Sambandha Gyan, he has no real interest in Mathura Lila, Dwarka Lila. That's why in Raganuga Shadan, it is mentioned. And don't confuse this also. I had one long discussion with the devotee. I told, it is mentioned in the course of doing Braj, Raganuga Shadan, that we will not do Dwarka Dhyan. So the devotee asked me, so that means we don't read the pastimes of Dwarka? So I told, calm down. Calm down. No, it doesn't mean that we don't read Mathura Dwarka pastimes. It is what perspective we will take when hearing the pastimes of Dwarka and Mathura. We'll hear Mathura Lila. Gacham Urva Somyam, Pittaro Prityavaha, Mat Gopi Viyoga Dim, Mat Sandashai Vimochaya. We will hear Mathura Lila. How Krishna on the roof of Mathura, looking across the Jamuna, called Uddhava to the roof and told him, please, you go to Braj and show affection to our parents. Then thinking, why did he say Pitaro? Pitaro means our parents. It's plural for our parents, right? Because he was showing the Ekantik Bhav with Uddhava, right? And so there's so many deep things in all of these, right? But the point is we will see Mathura and Dwarka Lila, but we will see them in connection with the Sambandha Gyan given by Guru in relation to Braj. Right? Also, I explained before, Mathura and Dwarka are Virohi Kshetra of Braj in order to produce Sudur, Prabhav, and Samriddhiman Sambho. So I'm not going into this in any deep way right now. I think I explained in one class before, 4 types of meeting, 4 types of separation. One type of meeting and separation cannot take place in Braj proper. Sudur Pravas, in Ujjal Nilamani it's explained, Sudur Pravas means when the loved and beloved are at a very distant place for a very long time and they come under the control of others. This is called Sudur Pravas. When they meet again after those circumstances, it is called Samriddhiman Sambhog, like at Kurukshetra, during the Surya Grahan, right? So, Rohini Ma is the conduit between the two. So when Sri Baladev Ji appeared in this world, Rohini Ma was already living in Braj and she was already showing the signs of pregnancy. During the 7th pregnancy of Mother Devaki, by the influence of Leela Shakti Jog Maya, the partial manifestation of Baladev Tattva, which was in her womb, Shankarashan, right, was transferred from her womb to the womb of Rohini Ma and merged with the fullness of Baladev Tattva. Right? Now, throughout this whole thing, there is a transcendental conduit. You can hear this expression, I'm going to go into it more, in Srila Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champu. So now, there he explains, after Sri Baladev Ji took birth, right, he manifested all of the wonderful and sweet signs of his astrological chart. So Rohini Ma, Mother Yashoda, because Mother Yashoda, Mother Rohini, they don't make distinction. Just like Kaikeyi, Kausalya, Sumitra, they did not make who's Ram's son. All thought that Ram is my son. I'm not speaking Ramayan Katha now, but Kaikeyi even, right? She's a heroine in many ways. If you really understand Ramayan, you read commentaries of Ramayan, right? Because there's many different versions of Ramayan, right? Dakshina Ramayan in South India, then there's commentaries by Bhavbhuti, others, right? So there are many deep things to it, and so the role of Kaikeyi in Ramayan is very deep. My point here is that Devaki, not Devaki, but Rohini and Yashoda, they did not think, this is my son, this is your son. Their love for their children were equal. So when Baladev first appeared and Krishna had not been born yet, Sri Baladev Ji appeared though to have some abnormalities. He was like deaf, dumb, maybe what you call contemporarily autistic. I don't know what word you can use to describe this feeling. But what it is that Krishna and Baladev, they are one heart. That same verse, Radha Krishna Chayeki Sarup Leela Rasa Siddhite Daridarup, also applies to Baladev Ji. They're like one Swarup really, but they've manifested two forms for the sake of Leela. So Baladev, there is no completion to Baladev until the object of his service is present. So Baladev used to wander around the house of Rohini Ma like in a trance, and the only time he would have any reaction is when he would sit on the lap of Yashoda Ma, put his head to the stomach of Yashoda. That time everything would become alive. So after Shri Krishna was born, Baladev and Krishna, they were inseparable, right? They were like the combined forms of naughtiness and mischief. If you had two twins and you named them naughtiness and mischief, that was Krishna and Balaram. They performed so many pastimes and always together. Throughout their Balya Leela and Puganda Leela, Krishna and Balaram himself, not until Kashur Leela, Krishna starts to then go with gopis, so many different things. But during those two periods, they're practically inseparable. So one pastime they used to perform was they would go out, and they were too young, obviously, when they were very, very small to herd calves or cows, but they would go out into the Goshala. And every now and then they would pretend like they were doing service. So when they would go, they would notice very amazing things because they were still in that stage of discovery. So sometimes Krishna and Balaram would see when any cow was eating grass, sometimes there would be foam in the mouth. And the foam would start to come down the side of the mouth. And sometimes it took on a frothy look and texture. So Krishna thought, wow, this is very amazing. That as soon as this cow eats this grass, immediately it produces milk right there in his mouth. Right there in his mouth. So then he would co-sign everything with Baladevji. This is true. This is true. So we don't have to wait until the milking takes place. We can go and get milk right now. So only one problem was there. That when the cows are chewing and their mouths are continually going, it's hard to reach in. So Krishna and Balaram sometimes would stand in front of the mouth of the cow and they would each try to reach in without getting their hand caught inside the mouth, reach in and try to grab some of the foam. Sometimes also if any cow would yawn and open its mouth very wide, they would think, oh, now is my opportunity. And they would both stick their hands inside. And obviously the cow at that time would become very disturbed and try to move its tongue around to extricate their hands. And they would think, oh no, our hands have been attacked by the serpent who's living inside the cow. So many sweet pastimes would take place. Like sometimes also, they would come to the Goshala and they would see the cow laying down. And they would approach the cow from the backside. And in the backside, they would see, every now and then, if it was some tall grass the cow was laying in, they would see something come up and then go back down. So Krishna one day, listen, it looks like one sap means a snake, has come very near one of our cows. We don't have time to go back and tell Baba. We have to save this cow right now. So then they would posture themselves, when they were just slightly older, then they would posture themselves and get ready to try to attack this snake. So the cow, when it would flip its tail up in the air and bring it back down, they would jump and they would miss it. Then they would back up and gradually, finally they would jump and they would catch the tail of the cow. The cow would become immediately excited and alerted and jump up and run. And you'd find Krishna and Balaram hanging onto the tail of the cow being dragged through all the mud. Of course, this would always happen after Rohini Ma and Yashoda had dressed them very nicely and had put on all nice new clean clothes. So many sweet pastimes also used to take place like that. Even when they became a little older, as I mentioned, Baladev, he's called Surit Saka. So he has some protective mood towards Krishna. So many times during the course of their playing, like the Priya Sakas like Sridham and others, sometimes they play with Krishna because they have this Vishramba, absolute feeling of equality, right? They play with Krishna like he's their equal, so they don't feel, oh, he's not suffering, right? If they become a little rough with him, oh, he's not suffering, he's just faking, right? Because he doesn't want to accept responsibility for his defeats, or so now he's faking. So sometimes Baladev would have to intervene and say, hey, it's too rough playing, right? Also, sometimes Baladevji, like if it was his Nakshatra birthday. Nakshatra birthday means every month, the same constellation that appears when you were born, it recycles, so to speak. So on that day, normally the parents would keep the child home and they would perform have priests come and they would perform rituals and things like that on that day. So there were days when Baladevji would not go out for Gocharan with Krishna. But he was always mindful that Krishna had certain tendencies. Like Krishna would always try to sneak off and go to Kaliyadaha, right? And Baladev would always catch him, hey, Kanai, come back. But on this day, because so many different things were going on, Krishna managed to slip out of the house and already take off to go Gocharan, and Baladev was back. Then he realized what happened. So he called Subal. And he calls Subal and said, tell Krishna, don't go to Kaliyadaha, because Baladevji knew, as soon as I'm not there, he'll try to do this. Sure enough, Subal, by the time he caught up, Krishna had already gone towards Kaliyadaha. And the whole Kaliya Dhamana Leela will take place. During that Kaliya Dhamana Leela, also a very amazing thing happened with Baladevji. During the course of your ceremonies, while everything was going on, all of the elder Brijabasis began experiencing inauspicious signs. Trembling of the left eye or right eye, depending if you're a man or woman. Different kinds of other inauspicious signs begin to take place. And in Rohini Ma and in Yashoda, Asankha Mangala takes place. Asankha Mangala means a doubt that something inauspicious is happening. But that takes place on a normal basis for them as soon as they don't see their child. It's called Asankha Mangala. Amangala means inauspiciousness. Asankha means a doubt. So a doubt that something is wrong. And this happens even in the material world. If you get a mother and she has a very restless child, if the child disappears from her sight, she'll immediately think, where is he? Where is she? So this feeling overwhelmingly took place in Yashoda and Rohini Ma, and they began to think something is wrong. So Baladevji, he tried to assure nothing, everything is okay. Listen, Krishna can take care of himself. Don't you remember Gagamuni told, right? Tasam Nanda Atmajo Yamte Narayana Samaguna. Krishna has qualities like Narayan. Yena Savad Hergani, and he can not only help himself, but help you also to conquer over all obstacles that may come. So don't worry, everything will be all right. But ultimately, the Prem Seva, the Vatsalya Prem of Madhishwar Maharaj Nanda, all they could not, so they went to Kaliyadaha, and of course they saw everything that was happening. When they saw what was happening, they all fainted. Boom. They saw Krishna in the coils of Kaliya. But who did not faint? Baladevji, also Krishna Sakas, also young gopis did not faint. And Jiva Goswami Pad has mentioned, for the very first time, the young gopis were coming of age towards their Purvarag, and for the first time they saw Krishna in a particular way. I've often given an example. You go to elementary school with John Doe. In elementary school, John Doe, he wore glasses, he was very skinny, a regular kid, and he didn't have very much to become excited about. But then later on, by the time you're both at university age, of course, Krishna doesn't get to be that old, but I'm giving an example here. At university, on your first day of matriculation, you see each other at the registration. But John is vastly different now. He's grown up. His chest is broadened. He's been going to the gym. So many different things. So now he has a whole different appearance. In the same way, the gopis are now seeing Krishna for the first time in the blossoming of their youth and also the blossoming of Krishna's youth. So now the gopis, they did not only not faint, but they stood, eyes almost unblinking, staring at Krishna. This inspired Krishna. Maybe I should show off a little bit. Mother Mogul gave any hint? Sanket? Oh, look, they're looking at you. So now Krishna thought, oh, maybe this is a good time to show off. So for this reason, besides just chastising Kaliya, he decided to do Natya on the head of Kaliya, means dancing on the head of Kaliya. This is the seed of the inspiration in these young girls' hearts. Oh, one day I want to also dance with that Natabara, that very excellent dancer, dressed so wonderfully, appearing so beautifully, right? Like Sakshat Manmat Manmat, right? Because at the end of Gopi Gi, Tasam Avibacha Chori, Tasam Avibacha Chori, Smaya Manamukam Bojam, Pitambara Dara Swagri, Sakshat Manmat Manmat. Their desire will be fulfilled. Krishna will appear before them, ultimately looking directly like Transcendental Cupid. You understand? But the seed of that comes in this Kaliya Damana Lila. Right? Baladev Ji, though, point here was that Baladev was completely cool. What's the problem? Don't worry about it. Right? Why is everybody panicking? Watch this. He folds his hands. Krishna does amazing things. So, Baladev Ji, he is so much of a seva of us to Krishna, so much in the mood of service to Krishna, that the Leela Shakti can completely control Baladev's emotions. So through many pastimes, Baladev reacts according to that Leela. Right? So, like for instance, when the Brahma Vimohan Leela took place, and Krishna came and stole all of the Maya Sangha of the cowherd boys, because Brahma cannot steal the actual cowherd boys. Actual cowherd boys remained on the bank taking their picnic. The ones that were stolen by Brahma were the illusory ones, and then Krishna manifested for 1 year a whole another set of cowherd boys and calves, etc. But for that whole year, Baladev Ji, who knows everything, right? He could not understand what was going on. He saw the strange behavior in the elderly gopis and gopis that now, formerly where they all had more natural swabhavik attraction for Krishna, they had more attraction for their own children. Strange. He noticed that even the elderly cows gave preference to the calves which had been born prior to their new calves. And it culminated 1 year later, all of the cows were at the top of the hill, and down in the lower part, all of the older calves were there. But as soon as the cows saw the older calves, they immediately ran down the hill towards the older calves, which is completely unusual, because they normally give more attention to their newborn calves. So then, Bala, something's going on here. What is this? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions in a 4-phase unfoldment, Baladev begins to ask questions and realizes, something is amiss here. This could not have happened by the arrangements of any demigods or daityas or anything else, any demons, anything, because none of that would have been able to fool me. So what is it? So gradually as it unfolded, he found out, this is Krishna's own arrangement. So then he asked him, Krishna, why did you do this? So then Krishna told, listen, when the cowherd boys disappeared, right? If I had come back to tell you about their being gone, I felt that it would be so heartbreaking to you, because I know how much affection you have for them, that I could not bear to do it. So anyway, such a beautiful exchange of love between Shri Baladev and Shri Krishna regarding their sakhas. You understand? Also, Baladev Ji has another amazing pastime. Once, when Baladev and Krishna were all living now in Dwarka, because after Krishna had sent Uddhava from Mathura to Braj, Uddhava came back and gave the message. After hearing Brahmar Geet, I'm trying to speed up a little bit now because I know time is going. After he heard Brahmar Gita, he came back and he told to Krishna, Ugrasen, if you read the last verse, it says also to the king and to Baladevji, but he told not everything to them, but to Krishna he told everything about the nature of the Brijavasi's prema, and especially the prema of gopis, that he heard from Brahmar Gita, what he could understand. Right? So Baladev always after that, he had the mood, why don't you go back? I also go with you, but why don't you go back, even to visit? And Krishna always had some reason, no, I can't go, I cannot go. So many different reasons and things. So once Baladev decided, I don't need Krishna's permission. This is one of the glories of being the elder brother in this Leela. Unlike Ram Leela as Lakshman, where he was checked many times from doing independent things, now in Baladev, he can do full seva to Krishna. So without Krishna's permission, he only told, I'm going to Braj. He came to Braj. And when he got to Braj, the important thing, I'm describing many Leelas took place there, but most important Leela was when he met with Krishna's gopis, he was able, in his conversation, to manifest the actual presence of Sri Krishna for them. They already have a special kind of Vipralamba Sporti. What is it? Vipralamba Pradurbhav Sporti. Vipralamba Prakrita Pradurbhav. It is a special kind of sporti that they get of Krishna when in their hearts they've resigned the fact Krishna may never come back. So when they become absorbed in thinking of Krishna in such a deep way, it manifests the sporti of Krishna in such a way that it's not like an ordinary Vipralamba sporti. Vipralamba sporti just means that they have sporti of Krishna, and then at some point it disappears and their separation doubles, right? Because even when the sporti appears to them, they think, oh, is this a vision? Is this real? But in this sporti, Vipralamba Prakrita Pradurbhav sporti, right? Pradurbhav means very intense. They experience actually Krishna's presence. And they feel the satisfaction as if Krishna's directly there. You understand? So when Baladev came, he was able to manifest that to Krishna's gopis. So unlike Uddhava, who could only give Krishna Sandesh, his message, Baladev has this revelatory power. He actually revealed Krishna's presence directly to them. And then Baladev also did Ras with those gopis. Krishna asked that you should do Ras with those gopis who were too young to obtain Ras Leela when I performed it, or those who had attraction towards Baladev. So there's some other mysteries also here, but I'm not speaking this thing now. But Baladev had this power also. This service on behalf of Sri Krishna was so great. Then, at the time of the Kurukshetra war, Krishna had decided he was not going to fight. Krishna lost his fighting tendency, his fighting mood, from the time of the Surya Grahan when he met the Brijavasis at Kurukshetra. After that time when Krishna had run from his Sabha and come to the gate where the Brijavasis were standing, and all the Brijavasis, especially the gopis, when they met with Krishna and saw Krishna dressed in royal garments, actually Krishna is described when he heard that Mother Yashoda Maharaj Brijavasis had come, he ran from the Sabha to greet them, and while he was running, he dropped his royal ornament, his crown fell off, his royal dress was peeling off. But right in front of the Brijavasis, Krishna's Dwarka Sevaks came and they began redressing him. This made an impression in the heart of Radhika, deep impression. So when they had time to speak alone, this is when Radhika will recite the verse, Ai Dina Dayadranata Maturanata Kalvalokshaye. I used to see you dressed in crowns made of mango leaves, with peacock feather, with different colored minerals from Giriraj. But today I saw, and that person who was dressed like that with mango leaves and flowers, that person, he was Dinanath for us. Atatite bhavan anikananam Tritayugayate Tvam apashatvam Whenever Krishna would go out for Gocharan, then the gopis, in their separation mood, they would consider Kritayugayate. Being without seeing Tvamapashatam Krishna for that time was like yugas had passed. You understand? So finally, when they would see Krishna, not see Krishna, see the dust of the cows coming in the evening, how much satisfaction their hearts would get. And then finally getting any darshan of Krishna at that time, all their hearts became fully satisfied. So they considered Krishna like Dinanath. Dinanath means the Lord of those who are in the deen. Deen condition means not fallen here, but fallen here means in deep separation. And Krishna would rescue them from that deep separation. But now, Mathuranatha Karavalokshe. Now we see you as Mathuranath. Servants dressing you in golden crowns, with royal dress, bangles so heavy that you can hardly lift your arms. So like this, Krishna thought after meeting the Brijabasis at Kurukshetra and still not returning, after so many pleas from Srimati Radhika, she told Rupa Goswami's verse, Preyasayam Krishna Sahachari Kurukshetra Militas, when they met at Kurukshetra. Tatapi Antrakelan Madhura Murali Panchama Jusei. I'm unhappy here. I am missing you with your Murali playing the Panchama Jusei means that fifth note, right? This is the Rasa Swar, right? The Rasa Swar on your flute. I'm missing that. You understand? So, being in this mood, I'm unhappy here, even though our meeting is the same. I'm the same Radha. We're also meeting again, but here at Kurukshetra, I'm unhappy. So Krishna, when he left Kurukshetra and went back to Dwarka from that time, Krishna's absorption in separation from Brijabasis was so intense. Day and night, all Krishna could think about was how to please and how to satisfy Brijabasis, how also to give some consolation to the heart of Radhika. He spent day and night thinking about this. His spending day and night thinking about this made the upsurge in his heart come of why he left Braj in the first place. Why did he leave? Not so much because Akrura came, because Akrura could not even convince Krishna to leave. If you read Gopal Champu, he spoke to Baladev, and Baladev convinced Krishna, okay, we have to go there. Then one complication after another. After killing Kamsa, Asti and Prapti, the daughters of Jarasandh, were widowed. So many different complications erupted from that. And Krishna had to spend so much time and did not return to Braj. Of course, in Gopal Champu, after killing Dantarakra, it says he returned, but I'm not going down that way. Anyway, so now for all of this time, Krishna has been feeling deep separation, but now that separation has become doubly intense. And unlike gopis, who have each other to console, they have Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda consoling. Well, Mother Yashoda, she can understand. not Nanda Maharaj so much, because it mentions that after they revealed their hearts, when Akrura was taking Krishna away, at that time, Visrajalaja Rudasma Suswaram Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. This song actually was sung by gopis. Visrajalaja. They gave up their shyness once they saw the chariot pulling away. Because before that, in Madhujaras, everything should be prachalamukata. It means it should be kept deeply hidden. But when Krishna's chariot started to go, nobody was stopping anything. Then the gopis sang out. Visrajalaja, they gave up all of their, laja means shyness. Rudasma, crying. Suswaram. What is the meaning suswaram here? Their tears, their emotions mixed with the melody that came from their hearts at that time is called Rudasma Suswaram. And they recited Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, covering all of Krishna's Leela. Bal Leela, Paganda Leela, Kaishwa Leela. Right? Because Govinda Damodara, like Damodar Leela, Govinda pastimes, like this. And Madhav pastimes, if you understand what the meaning of Radha Madhav is, you can have some appreciation for this. So, now Krishna's separation was intense. So Krishna at that time, he'd given up the idea of fighting or killing demons or any of these kinds of things. The next appearance Krishna will make will be at the Battle of Kurukshetra. And at the Battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna had already decided, I'm not going to fight in that battle. Why? Because when the gopis saw Krishna dressed like a king, like a Kshatriya, warrior, oh, it broke their heart so much. So when Krishna went back to Dwarka, you know what he used to do? Sometimes Krishna would sneak out into the horse stables. And Krishna would go to any horse and he would rub under the neck of that horse. Rubbing under the neck of that horse, he would remember once a message had come. If you read the book Hamsadutta Rupa Goswami Pad, he would mention that Lalita once sent a very deep message of one of Krishna's favorite cows, who was it was a calf at that time, it was growing to a cow. And when Krishna left, his heart was so broken because that cow was present and was watching. And Lalita sent a message, since that day, that cow has not taken any more growth. The skeletal structure of the cow can be seen. That cow will not eat anything, nothing. So Krishna went and he was rubbing the neck of this horse and thinking about that cow. Then he began to think about his other cows. He'd been calling, hey Mridanga-mukhi, hey Kali, hey Gauri. I'm so sorry that I've left you. Crying tears. Arjuna sometimes would see these things. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think Adi Lila 4, right? They quote from the Adi Puran there. How Krishna sometimes used to confide in Arjuna. Even though he's Gaurava Sakya Bhav, they would confide in Arjuna about his affection for gopis. This is why, when Krishna came back to Kurukshetra at the battle, there are many levels of Bhagavad Gita. I'm getting off topic now, and I think I'm getting late. But there are many levels of Bhagavad Gita. Samanyan Upakyan, Guya Upakyan, Guyatam, Sava Guyatam Upakyan. Sava Guyatam Upakyan, when Krishna returns to Kurukshetra at that time, Sava Upanasala Ghavo, Dugda Nandana Gopala, Parthavatsa Sudhya Bhokta, Dugda Gita Amritam Mahat. Krishna at that time, he's actually catharting his heart in code to Arjuna about his deep separation from Braj and Brijabasis. So many levels to appreciate Bhagavad Gita on. So being in Dwarka like that, and being under so much suffering, right? He decided not to fight, which is my original point. Hence, Baladev Ji, not just because of Duryodhana being his student, this is the common narrative, but also because at that time, Baladev, in part, the separation was so deep, it was difficult for him because he knows Krishna's heart. It was difficult for Baladev also to see Krishna like this. So he told that time, yes, I'm going to go on yatra to all the places of pilgrimage. So of course, many things were accomplished through that. He came also to Namasharanya, and there in Namasharanya, he actually revealed, because he's a revelatory power, right, of revealing Bhagavan. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhagavat Sarup, Tulya Bhagavata Krishna, Vibhu Savasrai. Bhagavatam is Tulya Bhagavata Krishna. It's not different from Krishna. It is Rasa Swarup of Krishna. You understand? So, Ramaharshan, who was a disciple of Vyasadeva, right? But he did not have the Rahasya of Bhagavatam in his heart. Even Vyasadeva, when he first spoke to Ramaharshan, he did not also have it. How do we know? Because not until Narada Samvad, his conversation with Narada, did he do deep meditation. Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pratilayamale. Apasya Purusham Puranam Mayam Upashvitam. Then he realized what is the real Bhagavatam. He realized what is Radhadasyam. Then, you understand? So, when he came, Baladev, to Namasharanya, Ramaharshan Sutta, which by the way, we should understand. First, in age, he's elder than Baladev Ji. Secondly, if he's seated on the Vyasasan, there is no dharmic etiquette that you have to rise from the Vyasasan, because at that time you're representing Bhagavan Shakti Vyas, that you have to rise from the Vyasasan to greet somebody. So the essential offense was not in not rising to meet Baladev Ji. One analysis could be there like that. Another analysis, Baladev in Tattva is Bhagavan. So if you cannot recognize Bhagavan, how can you speak Srimad Bhagavatam? You understand? So that's another angle of vision. But if you're just taking out the substance of the Leela, then there was no cause dharmically that he had to stand up. But the most important thing here was that in seeing Baladev, he could not recognize that Baladev not being with Krishna would be indicative that something was very deeply going wrong, which means he did not understand Bhagavatam. That he saw Baladev and did not see Krishna is indicative that he did not, because if you see Baladev, then you'll start to look, where's Sri Krishna? Right? But that didn't come in his heart is indicative he did not understand the actual mature understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Baladev showed mercy to him, taking kusha grass. He gave him the blessing to become the sacrifice that actually Srimad Bhagavatam could be spoken after his son Ramhasan Sutta would hear real Srimad Bhagavatam from the lips of Krita Shukadev Goswami. Then when he returned to Naimisharanya, then he would speak Srimad Bhagavatam in its true understanding with the rahasya and everything of Srimad Bhagavatam. Understand? So many pastimes and many leelas are there. Also tonight probably there'll be some discussion about the various demons that Baladev himself killed, like Dhenukasura, who represents gross ignorance, like Pralambasura, who also represents false ego and pride, Dvida, right, who indicates lust. All of these things have to be removed from the heart by the power of Sri Guru. Because Svato Na Sambhavad, the verse from 11th canto, we have no power to extricate ourselves from Maya like that. But by the power of Seva to Guru and Guru Kripa, these things can be removed from the heart. 27 different types of anarthas. 4 types of 4 anarthas, 5 types of subtle anartha like loy, vikshepa, etc. 6 types of unsteady bhakti like Utsamai, Ganatarana, Vikalpa, etc. My wife's chastising me, say it in English. Anyway, so unsteady devotion, 4 types of 4 anarthas, right? And 5 types of subtle mental conditions that make practicing bhajan difficult, right? When those things are conquered by the influence of Guru Seva and Guru Kripa, then one can come to the platform of Nishta. And when the Chitta and Nishta has become solidified by the influence of Bhakti, then the sweetness of Harikatha and the descent of Swarup Shakti can begin to come in earnest, and the true lobe giving rise to real Ruchi takes place, and then from Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, then in Vastu Siddhi, Prem, etc. So, but everything comes from the mercy of Sri Baladev Tattva, Akhanda Guru Tattva. Sri Baladev reveals the fact that even in our conditioned life, we're meant to be objects of service to Bhagavan. And it's only a case of realizing that. Because even if you realize that even throughout the entire sojourn in Srishti Leela, right, we are meant to be servants of Bhagavan, the question of why did I have to come here, why am I in a material, that doesn't arise. This is actually a question that comes from essentially lack of maturation and understanding. Right? So why did God punish me? Why was I in the material world? Of course, the narrative of falling from the material world, or some people came, some people didn't, right? That's the whole false narrative, first of all. But even if you had that narrative, once you understood clearly, right? Swamsa Vibi Nangsa Rupa Hanavishtar Ananta Vaikunte Brahmanande Koreno Vihar, that Bhagavan performs all types of Leela, including Srishti Leela. And if you were in that Srishti Leela, right? Why are you complaining? You should think, Tateano Kambam Sushis Mikshamano, I deserve to suffer so much for the prolonged ignorance that I had. But Bhagavan is so merciful to me, he's given me the Kripa of Sri Guru Sadhu, and now has allowed me to turn towards his seva. So anyway, let's pray to the causeless mercy of Sri Baladev Ji to bless us on this day, to always remain in Sadhu Sangha, because without Sadhu Sangha, no opportunity to make any progress. And all Shakti of Sadhus is also coming from Srimati Radhika and Sri Baladev Tattva in how we can serve Sri Krishna Bhagavan. Jai Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Shindavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. My Dandavat Pranam, I don't see how many devotees came on or who came on exactly. I can look at this thing, but I know maybe many senior to me have come on. So I'm also praying for your causeless mercy, any corrections, and praying that you will bestow your causeless mercy, that I can continue to try to render some seva and bhakti. Okay, so we will end here. Dandavat Pranam Shri Bhaladev Jayanti Maha Mahotsav Ki Jai.